Welcome everyone. Today we're going to do the full game playthrough of Madison, and I will divvy this up into separate parts, so that way if you're having trouble with anything in particular, there will be help with that. But so we're going to start off here, and we're going to make our way up the stairs over here towards this TV, and we're going to tilt this over to the left a little bit. This will illuminate the couch so that way we can look underneath it, and there is a knob that will affix to this little drawer, this door, I should say, right over here. So we're going to open this up, and we're going to grab the hammer that's inside here and just tilt the TV over to the right a little bit so that way we could keep this tin can illuminated here. You'll interact with this to see the pictures on the inside, and then we're going to grab that. So we're going to make our way towards this door, open up here, and then these two boards here we're going to use the hammer on to remove the nails, and this is going to give us access to Luca's grandfather's house, so that way we can start walking around there and do what we need to do. So go through the crawl space over here. There's going to be like a scripted crash here in a second, but just keep moving forward and you'll see a little crack of light right over here, and this is the door to the sub hallway here, I guess. When you walk towards the end of this hall, you'll hear a crash. When you hear that, you can turn around and a drape will appear here with a clock behind it. So when you pull the drape off, what that's going to do is that's going to open up this middle door here, and if you make your way to the center over here, you can open up this drawer. When you look inside of it, there is a key here, so go ahead and grab that. Next thing that you'll do is you'll open up your birthday gift, and of course, sorry, getting comfortable here, there is the instant camera over here, and you can just take a photo of the chair. That'll be the first photo that we take over here. Next, you can grab this portrait off the wall. You don't necessarily have to look through the wall in that crack. Then walk towards the end of this hallway again, and you'll hear the music kind of like get suspenseful. Turn around, and this will light up some candles that are on the floor. You can walk up to the sheet again. This time there is no clock behind it. Walk back over to this end of the hallway and interact with that oval there where you're going to hang that picture. So walk back over here and try to line up. It's kind of like a white on white background, so you can't really see it all that well, but you'll line up to grab this nail out of the clock. And then you could walk back to where we were attempting to hang that picture in the first place. So interact with that, select the nail, that'll hammer the nail in there. And when you interact with it a second time, you can actually hang the portrait. Take a little bit of a step back and take a picture of that. And then when you kind of like shake this picture, it'll show that the person is pointing at you. What they're actually doing is pointing behind you at this door here. So go ahead and interact with that and use this key to open it up, and this is going to take you into this section where there's a storage room.
What the hell has Dad been doing here?
And what you'll want to do is take a picture of this design on the wall. That's going to give you clues on what you need to do to unlock the well. When you interact with this matchbox here, there's a key in here, so go ahead and grab that. Then you can proceed into the side room over here, which is where the storage safe is at. So go ahead and grab that priest tape right there, use the key in here, and then open up the safe. What you can store in here is the tin box. And then what you'll want to take from here is Luca's notebook.
My notebook? So Dad's the one who took it away from me.
And with that, we enter Grandpa's house here. So what you'll do is you'll interact with the tape recorder here.
Fuck.
That'll shut off all the
The
lights.
storm must have taken out the power.
And if you walk down this main hallway
I
here,
think Grandpa had a generator in the
you'll
place.
start making your way towards the generator. So go down these stairs here, then you're going to want to interact with this panel. Now this panel changes with every playthrough, so you're just going to have to fiddle with these like kind of like up and down until you get them in the correct position. And then turn towards the generator and go ahead and interact with that. This will turn the power back on in the house. So now what you'll do is you'll make your way back over to the tape player. Tape recorder, tape player is kind of like the same thing. It's an old time thing right here. Go ahead and pop the priest tape in there. And so this one we do have to listen to all the way through, just because this triggers the event to get to the next level. But if you open up this drawer over here, you'll find this triangular key. You can make your way over back towards the front area where the clock appeared with the cloth on it. So this is just something that we can take care of instead of just like standing there and listening to the tape, right? So you can come over here, use the key, and you can then turn around and just start making your way towards the basement portion where the red door is going to be at. So everything during the beginning of this game is pretty kind of like straightforward. Later on it starts getting a little bit more complicated and it starts getting a little bit more vague, which is why I kind of like decided to do this walkthrough, just help people out with this one. So as we're walking over there, we're going to want to grab this little panel piece, which has 2 planets on it. We're going to find one more of those a little later on. And there is one in Grandma and Grandpa's bathroom, which is where you're going to use that. But follow this path that I'm going to here, and we can just chill in this area right over here until this tape finishes playing. Then once the tape finishes playing, Luca will kind of like go through a little bit of a possession, and then he'll draw in his notebook. He'll open up the page which actually shows the red door here, and then you can take a picture of it and proceed to the next part. So yeah, this is just one of those waiting portions where we have to listen to the tape all the way through before we can progress. So while we're doing that, I'll just say I do appreciate you checking out the video, and I do hope this helps you get through the game. This was actually one of my quicker playthroughs. I mean, as you can see, I just did it right there. It was just to show that if you try to take a picture of the door as the tape is going before Luca draws anything in the notebook, then actually nothing happens. So
steer clear of the insects.
So this tape is done right now.
There's just no way. I can't be possessed. There must be a mistake. Those pictures, that leg, that arm, I didn't do it. Dad thinks it was me, but I...
So yeah, this is the part right here where Luke is going to be freaking out a little bit.
A door. A red door. What's happening to me? Is this what that man was talking about?
And right about now, you'll hear scribbling in the notebook. Just in a second, as soon as Luca is done talking, I should say. So he'll scribble in the notebook. Open up the notebook, and it'll show the picture of the red door with creepy crawly legs on it, right? So at this point, you can take a picture of the door. Then, if you shake the film, or yeah, if you shake the picture, I guess it'll show you that there's caution tape on the door. So you can go ahead and proceed through here, and we'll get to this puzzle right over here, which is the well puzzle.
This is impossible. What's wrong with me?
And we will take a look at this picture here, and this is basically the top is going to be number 1, the bottom left is going to be number 2, and the bottom right is going to be number 3, and we'll look at it that way. So this lock would be lock number 1. So then the symbol that we had in that number 1 spot, you'll just line that up with the arrow here, which happened to be the planet, right? And then this will be lock number 2. And again, just find the corresponding symbol, and then right behind it over here is going to be lock number 3. Again, put the symbol in, and then take a picture of the well itself. That'll get it to crumble, and it'll give you an opening to go a little bit deeper down over here. Luca will fall off this ladder in a second, right into the water, and when that happens, what we'll do is just kind of do a 180, just turn around, go through this door over here,
The water is
and move to the top left pillar. And what you'll do is you'll find another tin can just kind of like resting over here. If you look at the bottom of it, it says MADiSON 1, 2, 3, and 4. And then if you turn around again and you move towards the door here, you can pick up the officer's radio and just have that equipped, and then move towards the center where the light is. And everything will kind of go topsy-turvy, and when it comes to, you'll see the police caution tape has been added into the game now. So this is going to become, I mean, it's not really relevant, but when the radio starts going with like the police chatter like that, you will want to focus on the red blinking light. The faster and faster that it blinks, that's where you're going to aim your camera and you're going to take a snapshot. So you just kind of like have to find your correct positioning here. And as you can see, it is blinking faster, 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 faster. So like right about there, we're going to take a second picture. And after the second picture, we could just kind of chill. So every time you take a picture of a demon, the film will be burnt. And there you go. So when it starts doing that rapid, blinking the third time, this is where you'll get Officer Russell's kind of her recorded message.
1987?
I can see there's a sort of well in the center of the room. Looks like it's open. I'm gonna investigate further.
This is, again, one of those sections where you just gotta have to just sit here and listen until this whole thing is finished.
There's a horrendous smell coming from down here.
And you pretty much do the same thing afterwards. So you'll look for the blinking light, you'll take a photo, and then we can progress through the game after that. Until then, we just have to kind of like listen to these messages.
Shit. I think I found the missing individuals. They're all mutilated. Legs, arms, they're just everywhere.
Let me know how you like the game in the comments. This is definitely one of the scarier games that I have played in a while. The only problem that I had with this is like through 3 live streams, like the puzzles were really, really, really vague. So that's why I decided to kind of like go through this game a couple of times and just do a video to help people out. And I will break this down into different segments. So that way, if there's just a particular portion that you are having trouble with, I'll definitely do separate videos for that. Officer Russell will come on about like 2 or 3 more times, and then we can start shifting to the next phase of the game.
Show yourself. That's in order.
And there you go. So now the scenery obviously changes. The traffic cones are now floating in the air. The body parts now floating in the air. And we're almost done with this portion here. It's really good for suspense. I'll tell you that much. The music and the atmosphere in this game are definitely creepy. that will pretty much finish the spoken portion of it. And again, we're just going to be paying attention to this blinking light. When you see it blinking rapidly, take a picture.
This cannot be real.
And at this point, just kind of move around a little bit because Luca obviously is going to start talking here.
I gotta get the hell out.
And yeah, you'll hear that little Luke like in the background of the demon, kind of like chanting his name. And yeah, just I've never sat still to see if that demon will pop up. So I've always kind of like moved around. So once you pretty much get like knocked out, you'll wake up in this circular room that's just basically full of doors. And what you're going to do is you're going to open each one of these doors up. After you do so, the room's going to go dark and all these doors will shut. And I will show you which door to actually look for to take a picture of. Everything revolves around the camera basically. So there, you do that, the doors slam shut. Now what you'll want to do is look at the ground, and you'll want to find this door right here, which has the 2 photos right in front of it, kind of like vertically. So when you find it, take a picture of that and just pop right through. This will put you back into the house, and Luca will start to go through a little bit of a possession phase again, and he will draw in the notebook again, and this time he's going to draw the access door into the attic. So go through the crawl space, you can start making your way over there. And it's going to be right about here. Yeah, that Luca will...
My hand.
Whenever he puts his hand out like that, that just means that he's going to start drawing.
The attic. I don't understand. My head.
And then once you start scribbling, and you can see the access portion to the attic right over here, you'll go down this hallway, make a quick left. You'll see the access door has been opened, and you can move a little bit closer to interact with the ladder. That'll drop it down. And now we'll get into the attic portrait section. So once you get up here, like, one of the first things that you can do is you can turn to the right and you can take a picture of the shape on the wall. This is the thing that tripped me up in the game, was that I was putting all the pictures up according to the shape. But if you look through here, it'll say 43. What you're actually doing is, the reason that you're taking these pictures, I was a little too far away here, I think. Each one of these numbers represents a different age, right? So you'll have this one 38, and so I know for a fact that if we turn around and we go and we take this picture off the wall, if you look behind it, it'll say that he's 5 years old. So basically 38 plus 5 is 43. So then that's what you're going to want to do, is you're going to want to put this into the 43 into the 38 spot. And you can take a picture of this one, which will show, what is it, the number 13. Okay, so if we make our way over to this corner over here and find this portrait here, this lady is 56 years old. So 56 minus 13 equals 43. So this picture will go into this spot here. Once we're done with this, we're going to turn around and we're going to grab this key. We're going to need this to access Grandma and Grandpa's room, so that way we could finish up this this attic portion, because there are still two more portraits, obviously, that we need to find. But to do so, there's like 2 different puzzles to complete. That TV will turn on. I just always like to turn it off just because it gets kind of loud, right? So make your way over to this room here and use the heart key, and this is the entrance to Grandma and Grandpa's room.
What a
You
mess.
can go up to this cupboard right over here and open this door and grab these slides from the bottom. make our way towards the bathroom over here. And these planets, sometimes they're lined up the way that they're supposed to be, and sometimes they're in reverse. So this is Uranus and Neptune, for example. And you could take this one here of Mars and Jupiter. So basically we're doing the planets backwards. So we're going to start with the furthest planet and work towards the closest planet. Take a picture over here of this wall. Shake this up and it'll show boards behind it. Now, the planetary pieces that we're going to collect are specifically to move that wall so that we can grab the portrait behind there. So we need one more of those planetary discs. And so the way that we're going to get that is we're going to move through here. And we're going to find a slide projector coming up soon. We're going to take this corner and take this corner. We're going to move into this section of the house, and this is where we're going to find the slide projector on the left, right? So you can go ahead and throw the slides into there, and you will have to cycle through these slides once manually. So just kind of like hit the interact button with each slide. When the slides start going back, that's when you could actually move towards this section here, and the slide projector will just kind of like start going crazy. And when it does that flashing, specifically, that's when you can take a picture, and it will actually show you the way that the planets are supposed to be lined up. But again, they're mismatched in this playthrough, so they're backwards. And I'll explain a little bit more what I mean here, because we have Mercury and Venus, I should say, Mercury and Venus on this particular disc right over here. Once we grab that, we can head towards this way, make a U-turn by this cabinet over here to get to Grandpa's office. So when we open this door here, you'll find like one of the statues is in here. Yeah, see, I'm turning around because sometimes when you turn around, the statue disappears. But at this point, like sometimes she's blocking this picture completely. In this instance, I'm able to grab this one. You can see that this gentleman is 33 years old, so we obviously need to put him into the number 10 spot inside the attic. But before we head up to the attic, just to save some time, we're going to go back to Grandma and Grandpa's room, and we're going to grab the last portrait in there as well. So that way we just don't have to like go up in the attic, go down off the attic, etc., etc. You can grab this priest tape over here also. This is going to be tape number 2. I don't remember if I listened to that one or not, to be honest. I don't think that priest tape number 2 is essential. I think priest tape number 3 is essential, but here we go. We'll get back into the room here, and we will put this last piece over here. So basically we're going to go Mercury, Venus. Did I not stop? Yeah, here we go. So from this side, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Neptune, and Uranus. So sometimes they will be flipped around where Mercury will be on the left-hand side. So it would go Mercury, Venus, Earth, the same way that it's going now. It's just basically flipped across. And sometimes you'll have to like turn the knobs at the bottom to get them to align. So depending on what playthrough you're at, then that's the thing. If Earth is basically on the left portion, in between discs 1 and 2 on the left, then you'll do planet alignment correctly from left to right. In this case, we just basically did it from right to left. So after we take those boards down, we'll grab this portrait over here, and you do have to interact with this locket in here because the door had locked to the room. So once Luca starts speaking about the locket, then this door will open, it'll slam shut, and then you just open it right back up. If you try to exit with without interacting with that locket, then the door will be completely locked. At this point, we'll just make our way back up into the attic. we'll hang the other 2 portraits and we'll be on to the tunnel maze section. Which after some trying, finally figured it out. So there you go. As you can see, the circle is the number 10 spot. So if you interact with this one here, you will take this gentleman that is 33 years old and you'll hang his portrait up here. And that will equal 43. And then the last piece by default, it's 25 years. And once you hang that one up, you'll look through here and now you can see that there's a door here instead of the number 43. Door will open up and everything will come crumbling down and you'll be able to exit the attic. So once you pass through the wall here, you'll want to look over to the left. There's going to be a Zippo laying down here. Okay, so you're going to want to grab that and equip it. Now, if there's an easy way to get through here, like Luca will talk about the handprints on the wall in a second here.
There are handprints on the walls.
And then he'll talk about like them actually stopping. So there you go. So when you get to particular intersections, you can take pictures, but make a left at the very first one that you can. And if you take a picture of these intersections, it'll show you that there are handprints, there are not. If there are handprints, then that's the one that you want to follow, but just follow this along and you're going to get out of here just fine. So again, you're going to want to take your first left and we're going to just keep walking straight. We're going to bypass all of these turns. We're going to get to a T intersection eventually. It's going to be coming up here really shortly, but just keep walking straight and bypass everything. So this first T intersection that you get to, make a right and keep on going straight. A demon will pop up eventually, you know, occasionally just to give you a jump scare and everything like that. This second T intersection, make a left. And then when we get to this cross intersection, which will be coming up here very shortly, right over here, make this very first right, make your very first left, the first right again, and the first left, and there will be a demon there, so you could just follow the demon around here. But there is a trophy for doing this in under 3 minutes, and just following that pathing right there will put you under 3 minutes. So it's pretty simple and straightforward. So at this point, I really like this hallway. Like what they did with this as far as like level design is concerned. Like this looks pretty dope with all the crosses just kind of like hanging there on chains and everything. Right? It looks super menacing. But once you pass through here, you'll be outside, and what you'll want to do is kind of like just look at the ground and follow these wooden boards or the wooden planks.
How did I?
It will intersect with a tombstone right over here. So just kind of like follow this off to the left and just break off to the right, and you'll find them all over again. And so just keep on following these. And almost at the church. So once you're here, you're gonna find like a when you get towards the end of this, you're gonna find this I guess well again. Right over here, there's a whole bunch of candles on it, right? So you can interact with that, and it's like really dark. So you can turn your lighter on if you want to. All you really need to do is just keep walking down. But I flipped the lighter on just so that way we're not looking at something dark. But what's going to end up happening is that Luca is going to end up falling off of here again. For some reason, I mean, just like Leon in Resident Evil 2 and like other games that I've played, everybody has problems staying on ladders for whatever reason. So yeah, Luca will fall. He'll kind of like knock himself out, and then you'll wake up inside the church in 2022. And
God, how did I end up here?
there's not really anything to do in this initial portion of the church. There's a little guide kind of like map thing that's a little bit of a clue. I did take a break there, so. And there is a flyer that talks about like why the church closed down. So if you interact with either of those, then that's all you're really doing is just kind of like getting like a backstory of why it's shut down. But we're going to go towards this back section over here because we're going to want to grab this yellow candle right here.
A yellow candle.
And then pass through this section here. And if you're ever having trouble with the lighting, just kind of like hug the wall. Take a picture of this 1987. And this will put us into the 1987 portion of this church. And this is what I mean by hugging the wall. If you hug the wall, you'll actually have a little bit of light on it, so that way you can follow that. Eventually you'll be able to open this door, and that will illuminate it a little bit better for you.
This is impossible.
So if you interact with these maps, it'll show you how the mazes go. And so we could put a few things away here. The rusty tin can we could definitely store. We don't need that. We're not going to need the hammer anytime soon. And we're not going to need the priest tape anytime soon here. So the rest of the stuff you could keep on you, which is fine. Move down towards this corridor over here. This is going to bring you towards the bell that was ringing. And we're going to find one more candle over here. These pictures do show Jesus and the angels here. However, like when I first played through this, I thought that those were hints as to where the candles are going to go. But you'll see that that is not the case. But we'll find the blue candle. I'm sorry, we'll find the red candle right over here. And then you can take a look at the yellow map over here if needed as well. But you got to get like really close to these things to kind of like interact with them, right? So. But it'll show you just which way to move around them. They're not really complicated at all. The one that is kind of complicated is the red one. But I'll show you where to find that map also. That one does have a lot of twists and turns, but for right here, we're going to go into the yellow corridor here. And in the yellow corridor, obviously, we're going to place the yellow candle. Yellow candle is representative of God. So when you see God over here, look down at the pedestal and then place the yellow candle here, and then it will ignite. And that's the only thing that you're going to do here. I don't remember if I took a look around here. Well, we'll find out in a second, because I do think that I took around the red room here. I may not have. I may have just skipped right over to 1951. No. Okay, yeah.
MADiSON Hale? Is this her coffin?
You could draw those on a piece of paper also if you need help. The intersecting circles are just the intersections. So if you ever see one that's like, you know, first intersection, second intersection, they do kind of like change around. But we'll go to 1951 and we will find the blue candle right here on the pew. So go ahead and grab that and put that into your inventory. And then we'll make our way out into the 1951 church. This is one of the longer sections of the game because there's just kind of quite a bit of walking around. So as you can see, the yellow door and the blue one. What we're going to want to do here is I don't remember what I do first, because we can actually trigger the confession first here. But yeah, as you can see, the green maze is going to be the same here. And if you walk towards this back room, this will show you God over here and Mary over here. And obviously, this is why I said I thought they were clues as to where the candles were going to go, but they're not, since we put God in 1987. So interact with this confessional over here, and then Nancy's going to start spilling the beans about her husband Hans. And so she killed Hans. Just spoiler alert, I guess. And that right there on the ground, which you cannot access from this side, that is the red room map. So you have to go over onto this side of the pews, and right over here. And that's what I was saying, is that the red maze is a little bit more complicated than anything else. So that's basically the path that you would follow. You would follow it to the first intersection, make a left. First intersection, make a right. First intersection, make a left. First intersection, make a left. First intersection after that, make a right, and then you'll end up in the room where you would place the red candle. So I just kind of like to wing this one, just because, yeah, a lot of twists and turns there. You know what I mean? But like I said, if you draw it for yourself on a piece of paper, it's just that much easier. Wow, the green candle is going to be the very last candle that we get. We do need to trigger Hans for that, and for us to be able to trigger Hans, we need to let Nancy finish her confession. So yeah, if you have this drawn on a piece of paper, it's going to make it just that much easier. But basically, I was trying to go by memory here, so I think I ended up kind of like putting myself in a bit of a different loop pattern here. But red room will obviously equal the red candle.
Jesus.
And then blue room, blue candle, pretty self-explanatory as far as this puzzle is concerned. The more difficult thing to figure out when I was doing this section was basically what to do next. And as you can see, like here, like I just trapped myself, and I'm like, crap, why did I think I was going to go by memory here? But yeah, you could just kind of like walk around and look around, and if you ever do get stuck, you're not going to get like stuck in here, you know. Basically, you'll either end up at the back room, or once you see the velvet ropes, that's going to be the way out. So again, if you get stuck, don't worry about getting stuck in here forever and kind of like being soft locked. There you go. You turn, you see the velvet ropes, and that's the exit. And so again, so sometimes it's 2 candles in 1987 and 2 candles in 1951. Sometimes, like on this playthrough, like there's going to be 3 of them up here. But see, like Nancy's going to be saying the Lord's Prayer here. And when she's actually doing that, a piece of paper appears by her pew. I didn't want to interact with it just yet, because once we interact with that paper, then that triggers Hans. And we don't want him walking around, because he's like, he doesn't like get rid of us to, like, you know, oh man, you know, you lost life and you have to go all the way back to the beginning. It's not like a permadeath kind of thing. The thing that happens is that it sends you back to 2022, and then you just have to kind of like pick up from where you left off from 2022, which is just kind of like, it's just a tad annoying. To see, like over here, I forgot the pattern for the blue maze this time, and I was remembering it's like left, and then I'm looking for a dark hallway, because I do remember that it was supposed to be another left, but it was actually a left and then a right. Just like I said, do yourself a favor, just mark it down on a piece of paper, so that way you don't get lost like that. Because there are some dark corridors here. And as you can see, we do have Mary this time in 1951. And we do actually have the angels in 1951 on this playthrough as well. And so the way that we trigger the green candle, which is the last candle that we need, again, is we have to interact with that piece of paper that's by the confessional on Nancy's closed door, which we're getting to as soon as I figure out how to get out of here, which is in a second. Like I said, if you keep walking around and you see the velvet ropes, you're good to go. I thought I found it that time. And again, now I'm trying to go by memory. There you go. See the velvet ropes and the exit. The light at the end of the tunnel, as it were. So yeah, so this is, at this point, interact with this piece of paper here. It will say he is here, which means that Hans is here. And then you could turn down this way over here, and you'll see the candle floating right in the middle of the room. So once you approach this, you saw the silhouette of Hans there, and you could actually then interact with this candle after it drops to the ground, and you could pick this one up. I thought that's Hans just letting his presence be known over here.
What the fuck was that? I gotta get out of this place.
And again, so I thought that this was going to be a two candle situation. So I end up going back over to 1987 just to figure out that it's not a two candle situation. So I'll end up going back to 1951, and then you have to come back to 1987 to grab a key. I was like, why am I walking down this way again? I already had that, right? So at this point, walk down this corridor here. Again, this maze is like the easier of all of them. You just kind of like follow it down, make a right, and you're there. And of course I didn't listen to myself, so yeah, this one's pretty well lit. So up, right, and you're there, and here's C. I thought that the angels were going to be here. Turns out that they're not, so you do have to go back to 1951, and you got to be kind of like quickish once Hans shows up, because he'll just, it's very random where he's going to pop up. And so again, so we're going to have to go to 1951, place the candle. We're going to have to come back to 1987 to get the key. Then we're going to have to go back to 1951 to use the key. And then we can kind of like finally, well, actually, we'll have to come back to 1987 to use what we're going to get in 1951 to knock down MADiSON's coffin, which is the only thing that we're trying to do here is grab the I, the letter I, from Hans groaning. And so, like I said, you'll want to be quick about this one here. Like, stay off to the side. Again, if you have an encounter with him, he's not going to like permadeath kill you to where you go towards the beginning. It's just going to send you back to 2022, and you're just going to have to come back here and just kind of like try to duck and dodge him until you can actually set this candle. As you can see, like, Luca's walking just a little bit quicker. So make a right, and you'll be in this room over here, and you'll find the angels. And when you set this candle, you'll hear the bells start tolling again. There you go.
The bell.
Yeah. But that bell, unfortunately, is back in 1987, so it's kind of like once you place that candle, the threat of actually encountering Hans and him sending you to 2022 is like now minimized, because all the candles are set. It's just a matter of like trying to navigate your way through here before the candles are actually set in place, right? So we'll go back to 1987. It's just one of those things. It's just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And we're going to go back over to the bell tower here. When we encounter the bell tower, go underneath the bell and you'll find the key there. Now the key is not for the bell tower in 1951. It is for the confessional booth. So do yourself a favor, make it real quick, go to the confessional booth and open it up, grab the eye, and then just double back back to the room that has the years in it to get yourself back to 1987. So that way you can place the eye, and that'll spell out MADiSON finally. Well, you'll see what I mean in a second here. So yeah, they left this game. They left that really dark, and it's just kind of like, it's one of the things that's a little bit annoying. Like, you never know if you're like if you're like trapped in a corner or not. But yep, go ahead and interact with this plaque here. Yep, and then double back through this hallway right over here. Go back to the year 1987. And we're going to go and we're going to interact with MADiSON's plaque. Very weird kind of ceremony, I think, here. It's kind of weird that her plaque would be like right in the middle of the church, and then her coffin hanging like right in the middle of the church. I don't know. But you'll take a picture of that. That'll obviously drop it down. And then you'll just want to search for her skull.
What is this? Her skull.
After that, you can proceed to the store here. Throughout, it'll say that the doors are locked, but this is going to put you through this kind of like claustrophobic hallway here, and again, it's just back and forth, back and forth, back and forth in this hallway for a little bit. So you're going to walk all the way down over here to open up this door. Interact, and it's like bricks. Yep. Okay, so we're gonna walk back to the other side over here, and Luke is gonna say something to the effect of "it's sealed off" or something like that. And once you get to that door,
It's sealed off.
yeah, I can't stand the fact of the flickering lights and everything going dark. That's one of the things that kind of like bugged me about this game is that happens like in like inconvenient spots. So yeah, so you'll see this one, and you'll have to turn around again, and then when you get like close to this door over here, because this is like the 4th time around now, right? This door will actually disappear. So it'll just be a solid wall. So at that point, you'll turn around, and when you get close enough to this door at the end over here, Hans will jump scare you. And all you gotta do is just turn around and book it.
God. The attic.
Because as you can see at that point, the door is, or the wall is gone, and you can enter the attic. And this is where, oh, I spent a long time trying to figure this out, because for, like, you end up back in the attic, but there's like nothing to do. Like, so you hear the phone ring, and that's kind of like that's a bit of a distraction, because it's actually Priest Thomas calling to leave a message. But where you actually have to go is you have to go into Grandma and Grandpa's bathroom here, because now there's a key that just appears just pretty much out of nowhere. And so, as you can imagine, it's kind of frustrating, because you'll go to the telephone, you'll start listening to Priest Thomas, and in either case, we're making our way back to the red door, so follow the same path as before. It didn't really go anywhere, right? And then you're stuck kind of like looking around the house and looking around the house and looking around the house, because for no rhyme or reason, there's no clue whatsoever that tells you that all of a sudden a key has appeared in Grandma and Grandpa's room. So no photo needed at this point to use this key. Just go ahead and use it and enter. And you'll see that the sign says here that the crowbar is in the basement, showing a downward arrow. When you turn around, obviously the scenery changes for you. And a light bulb will kind of just drop from the ceiling. And there it is. And so take a look around, because sometimes it'll be in the very first one that you encounter. If it's not, then go ahead and tap the light bulb. And then just kind of like take a look around also. Yeah, you'll see like the interaction magnifying glass like when it's available. So until you actually find it, just go ahead. I don't think I tapped that thing hard enough out. I think is what I think everything's like in the exact same spot. But that's pretty much all that you want to keep doing here is just tap the light bulb. Scenery will change. Take a look around to see if the crowbar's around, and that's pretty much all that we're doing. It'll, like I said, it'll be pretty visible, so tap that again, and there it goes. So go ahead and grab that. Once you grab that and you tap the light bulb, it's going to change the scenery again. Kind of like the same thing that happened in the well, where all the doors appeared and then you needed to open the doors. I just kind of like took my time here as the scene's going, just to kind of like eliminate some of the photos that we don't need. But you'll end up in this spot and you'll see that the statues appear, and you'll just have to take a picture of a couple of those of the statues, just to get them to start disappearing. Actually, you know what? As I'm watching this now and I'm like doing the voiceover for it, it kind of like seems like, well, no, because this one stays in place. It looked for a second like as I was getting closer to them, then they were moving away instead of having a picture taken of them. But yeah, at this point we're just waiting just to be back in the regular basement. That's it. That, like, literally, I did not edit that. That's how it happens.
She doesn't show in the photos.
And we're just gonna follow our pathway back here into the house. And there's actually 2 spots to use the crowbar. There might actually be more. I will do a full walkthrough. Like everything. Like the way that we're doing this now is pretty much just to beat the game. But I will do a full walkthrough to show you where the collectibles are at and everything like that. But there is a plank up in the attic that you can use the crowbar on. It has a tape that's a do not listen to this tape. And the do not listen to this tape, if you listen to it, then you actually get a trophy for that. Or an achievement, depending on where you're at. But if you lift up that plank, then this is like a sentimental object. So Luca will start freaking out over here, and once you pick that ring up, and he'll start doodling. I spent forever thinking thinking that this was an eyeball that he draws. If you thought that this is an eyeball too, just believe me, you are not alone, because it does look like eyelashes and everything, but if you zoom in, it's actually a chair. And so the chair was in the beginning of the house, in the very middle room, right? So now when we walk in here, we have these 4 statues over here, and I'm like, oh, wait a second, that's right, I forgot that I put the tin cans away. So luckily storage is right over here, so you could just double back very quickly over here and grab the tin cans.
I'm carrying much already.
Yeah. When he says that, the inventory's full, but we're going to get rid of a lot of stuff over here really quickly. The second triangular key is right down here on the chair as well, but basically I'll go through the book here in a second, but go ahead and take this MADiSON skull, place it on one of the statues. You'll see the blood come out their eyes. There's the sentimental object right there. And then place the tin can that we found at the beginning of the game that contains the pictures of the limbs. And then you can go ahead and grab this triangular key since we now have room for it. And you can take a look through this book here, and this is the body exchange ritual, and it shows that you need a sentimental object, 7 sacrifices, 2 bodies, a guest and a host, right? And then human ashes. And if you've caught on to this, there's two body parts in the tin can that we have, and there's going to be 4 body parts in this MADiSON tin can that we have over here. So that's 6, and we still need 1 more. Nothing important over here. That's just a file. So this section over here has actually 2 of these like breaker things. So go ahead and do the first one here, turn around and get the second one rolling over here. And again, you have to toy around with this each and every time, just because this changes every single playthrough. As you can see, I was trying to do that quick. I was actually getting kind of frustrated with that one here. So the rusty box we're going to take over here, and we're going to actually cut the lid off. And this has pictures of MADiSON's 4 victims in it. And you can interact with it if you want to, but it does show that 1, 2, 3, and 4. You can take a look at those pictures, but I mean, you really can't see anything just because it's like kind of like dirty from the water. And then you just grab those bolt cutters before heading back over here. We're going to go back into the ritual room, this middle room over here, and we're going to set this box, MADiSON's box, right on top of this statue here, or in this statue's tray, whatever way you want to look at that. If you heard the door just slam closed on us, and then you'll kind of like see that is locked, and that this one, it'll say that this is locked. And so you just have to go back and you have to interact with this door again. And then Luca will say, I need to find the 4 digits to open this door. And then this is kind of like where we get into kind of like heavy drawing in the notebook over here. If you grab the priest tape right over here, tape number 3. I don't remember what I put in storage here, or did I store anything? Yeah, you can store the crowbar. You really don't need that. Like I said, there's only 1 more plank to use the crowbar on. You can take the hammer with you. You'll need that in a second. And it's not important to finishing the game. It's just important if you want to grab a trophy. Like I said, it's a do not listen to me tape. And if you want to listen to the do not listen to me tape to get the trophy, then by all means go up in the attic, you know, crowbar the plank up, grab that, and that's the only other portion that we actually have a plank in. Yeah, so this is going to be another tape that we'll have to listen to all the way through, so I just stored the number 1 tape so we don't have to worry about that anymore. We're still gonna need the bolt cutters. And if you listen to the priest tape and then you go into the bathroom, then you're going to encounter an argument with Grandma and Grandpa. But if you go in here while the priest tape is playing and you kind of like cut this bolt with the bolt cutters,
Attached to me? She's no longer human.
Seek help. I'll investigate that woman you told me about. Madison Hale. And I'll get
you have to get that eyeball showing to interact with that. So then you could lift this toilet seat up and grab this concrete counterweight, and then if you exit through here now, then you don't have to sit through, like, it's like 2 minutes of grandma and grandpa arguing, like, outside the door there. So, but in either case, you can go and you can put that concrete counterweight into storage. You don't need it right away.
Find a way to end this. Fuck.
Now, this is why we listened to the priest tape, is that we needed to trigger this scene over here.
My body burns. More horns?
Yeah, so we need Luca to scribble in his notebook, and he's going to draw a picture of the horns. The horns, of course, are by the TV and that corridor that leads towards the back end of the house over here. So just take a picture of the horns here, and you'll see that once you shake this, it'll be a number on it. In this case, it is the number 2. And no, you can't do, you know, like 3 numbers and try to guess the 4th one, or do 2 numbers and try to guess the last ones. You actually have to get all 4 of them.
No. Fuck.
This is another one that tripped me up hardcore when I was doing the live stream of this game. Is now Luca basically draws a light. It's a red light, and
I don't know what this could mean.
I went around and I turned the generator off, and I went around the entire house, and I was like trying to find
What the hell?
which red light to take a picture of. And it took me like a good hour and a half to figure out that I'd already done this, because you're just going to follow this pathway. The only thing the red light signifies is that you're supposed to turn the generator off. That's it.
I gotta get to the front door.
Like, that's vague as all hell. Just turn the generator off, so that way it's dark. And, you know, then when you get to this portion of the house, I went the wrong way here. You see, I'm like, what the hell? And that's what I'm talking about, moving around here in the dark. It's like annoying. So if you hug these walls, then at least you have a little bit of light, so that way you know when some turns and corners are coming up. Because otherwise you're just going to be flash, 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 flash. But here's the front door. There was a piano that was blocking it earlier. But this is what the red light signifies, is that we're going to be doing this mausoleum portion. So this is basically going through MADiSON's victims. So each floor contains a different victim. First floor is MADiSON's father, as said right there. So you'll want to find this gap in the wall over here and just take a look, and it's Robert Hale, as you can see, 1987. And you'll take a picture of that, because you'll want to move each corresponding number of the victims onto their portions. So victim number 2 was MADiSON's mom. So all you're gonna have to do is look for I believe her name was Victoria. We'll see in a second. I did take a picture somewhere around here, because, yeah. Oh, it's actually Judith, I believe. Yeah, see, it's Judith Hale. So luckily I took a picture of where it needed to be anyway, so we don't have to worry about that. But you would find Judith Hale, take a picture of Judith Hale. But again, that just happens to be like super dark. There you go. The third victim is a 27-year-old man, and it will actually, you don't have to worry too much about this one. Is you're going to want to go up here, interact with this, and then it'll say, like, you know, punch a hole into it. And this is why I said just take the hammer with you, because this is where you're going to want to use the hammer. And then if you look through here, once it allows you to, it'll show you Drake Fletcher, 1960 to 1987. So that's a 27-year-old man. Then we're going to move up to the 4th floor. The biggest clue to this one is that it says that MADiSON chopped her into over 13 pieces, more than 13 pieces. So as you can see over here on this wall, if you take a look at all these religious pictures, if you count them, there's actually like 14 of them, but it said more than 13 pieces, so there's actually 14 of these on this wall, and this is the wall that you're going to want to look for over here. And you're again going to want to use the hammer here and take a picture, and that's going to be the last one. And if you've done each one of those correctly, then it'll just start saying you. You're going to go up to the 5th floor, and you are going to find a mirror on the opposite side of this of the post in the middle. So you'll take a picture of that. And then over here we're going to find the clock room key. Yeah, this one did have a another number to it, which is 7. You can make it out over here, but you'll yeah, just make a habit of shaking the photos so that way it's a little bit more visible. You can tell that it's a 7 though. So go ahead and grab this clock key. And then just take this down to ground level. After this, you can turn the generator on. So if you've been running around like a chicken with his head cut off, trying to find a red light to take a picture of, believe me, been there. I feel you. It's disappointing to say the least to find out that all you needed to do was to do this mausoleum section. Yep, go ahead and turn the generator on. Make life easy on yourself, just because it is actually just horrid walking around this place while it's dark. I mean, you just can't see anything. So just follow the normal pathway that you would, just to get back down to the generator, turn it on for yourself, so that way it illuminates everything in the house. It makes life way easier. Okay, so follow this up, make a U-turn over here, and the second door on the left will be the clock room door. Use said key that we just got, and do yourself a favor, grab a pen and a piece of paper, or write it down in your notes on your computer here. Luca will start freaking out a little bit here again, and he'll draw a clock this time.
My hands. This is what the priest was talking about. That thing is feeding off of me. What the fuck does this even mean? The house is full of clocks.
And so if you take a look at each of the 4 walls here, like you can see that this one is 420. So you can write down 420 for yourself. There's gonna be a lot of jotting around the house here, trying to figure out all of these. So if you take a look at this one over here, this one shows 930 on this wall here. So 420 over here, 930 over here. You see that this one shows, what is that, 740? And then finally off to the far right table. I'll turn eventually. There you go. Off to this far right table over here. You can see that these clocks are at 510. So if you write those times down for yourself, it's going to make just kind of like traipsing around this house trying to find these clocks just that much easier. So the first thing that you're going to want to do is you're going to want to grab the bolt cutters and open this drawer here. Now over here you'll find a scratch pad over here, and it says combination 3 left, 12, and then it's like scratched up, but it's 3 left, 12 right. And then when we go up the staircase over here, you can make a right and you can open up this door to the bathroom over here, where you'll find the second piece right over here. So as you can see, that's scribbled out and it says right and then 5 left. So 3, 12, 5. So left, right, left. This doesn't work like a traditional dial safe would. So it's not like you're going to move to the left to get to the number 3, to the right to get to the number 12, etc., etc. What you'll do is you'll move 3 spots left, and then you'll move 12 spots right. And see, I'm checking out the clock here, and it does show that this one is 5:10, right? So again, you'll interact with the safe. You'll move 3 spots over to the left. You'll move 12 spots over to the right, and then you'll move 5 spots over to the left, and that is what's going to open up the safe for you. You'll get your initial clock piece here. Like this one says 9:30, so we know if we've written it down that we do need 9:30 over in the clock room. So usually if you have a time that's not inside the clock room, you could put it into that clock that's right outside that door and grab the time that's on there, and that'll usually coincide with one of the times that you need down in this room. In this case, the time happened to be in the safe. So we'll find the clock which has the 9:30 slot, which is this one right over here, and it's always going to be the cuckoo clock, right? So you'll take the 9:30 and you'll put it in here, and then you'll take this one and you'll grab it and go towards the next clock which has the appropriate time. So there's 4 clocks throughout the house. We're only going to end up utilizing like 2 or 3 of them, just because we found one of the correct times inside of the safe, if that makes sense to you. It'll make sense as we're going through it. But so when we go back to this one here, we know that we need the 5:10, so we're going to put this 7:45 in here, because 7:45 is not one of our times, but 5:10 is one of our times. And we'll take this one back to the clock room. And again, this is just a lot of back and forth. If only it were as simple as collecting all of the inventory and then putting it in, right? But we always need that one mismatched piece that we don't need down into the clock room. So we'll look for the section that has the 5:10. In this case, it was this clock that's on the table here. So we'll put the 5:10 in here. We'll collect this this mismatched piece over here, and then we'll go through the house and we'll try to find the next one. And so there is 1 clock up in the attic. There is 1 clock over here. And as you can see, this one shows, I don't even know what time that showed. I think that one did show 6:40, and I just passed that one up. Yeah, I did a little bit of dancing around here. So as we can see, this one here does have the 4:20 time on it. And so we'll take this one back into the clock room again, and we'll put it in the 4:20 slot. Okay, then we'll collect this mismatched piece. Yeah, and as I mentioned before, I got tripped up a little bit, so I just edited out the portion that I did in the attic, because the last clock that we actually need the piece for is this one over here by the kitchen. So this one shows 640, which is the last time that we actually need. So we're going to grab this 640 piece, and we're going to head back down into the clock room yet again. Good times. And so we'll put this one into where it needs to go to, which is over here on the right. And once you do that, every one of the clocks in here is going to kind of like start freaking out like this, just kind of like just going back and forth with the time. And all the cuckoos will obviously just, you know, bounce out, and they'll just start going cuckoo cuckoo all over the place. Give all that a second to normalize, and you'll see the last clock that's actually spinning is on the door here, so take a picture of that. That will give you yet another number. And if you examine the photos now, you see that you have 276, and you need one more. And again, no, you cannot unfortunately go to the lock and open it. You do need to get all 4 of those, but collect this clock here first. As you can see, this is a counterweight. So we're going to head back over to the storage area, and we're going to grab our concrete block. Luca is going to do this little freak out thing here.
I can't take this anymore. I just can't. My whole body is going.
This time he's going to draw a second combination, because there is a second safe in the room where we had the green safe. There's a red safe in there as well. And
this must be a combination or something.
This one's pretty easy to explain. So the red markings are the numbers that you are going to use. Did I already grab the concrete counterweight? Kind of looks like I did. I'm not sure though. I'm looking at the timeline on the video, and I see that I'm walking over to the safe here. But yeah, right underneath the desk is where the red safe is going to be. So again, you can open up your notebook, and you can count the red lines that are drawn in, and you do have to count the arrows. So like the outer one is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So that is 7 left. The second one, well, we'll see. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. And that opens this one up here. And this is the Johnny room key, which is the Bloonies room. So if you've gone through this game and you've heard of Bloonies throughout the game, then this is the Bloonies room. And I guess I must have the counterweight on me. Nope, I'm going to get the counterweight right now. Otherwise, I would have opened Johnny's door right there. And Johnny's room is actually Luca's dad, so John. But yeah, if you haven't grabbed it yet, then go ahead and grab it now, because it's going to be important to finish this puzzle. So luckily there's not like too many places to go, and like almost just jotted right past it. Like, you know, like luckily this storage thing isn't like in some other, you know, section of the house entirely. But you can go ahead and you can store the bolt cutters at this point. You don't need them anymore. So you'll have plenty of spots in your inventory to do inventory management if you just kind of like pace it out correctly, like kind of like the way that we've been doing through this video. If you've been following along, like you saw, is we couldn't take something earlier on when we were looking through the safe, but we really didn't need it anyway. In either case, we're going to go into Johnny's room here, and we're going to use the counterweights to release the Blue Knees book. So use Johnny's key. Open said door, and now you're going to see some symbols here with these counterweights on them. So the shark is going to be the biggest counterweight, and so the rabbit is going to be the clock. Okay, so if you see the rabbit symbol, that's where you're going to use this clock as the counterweight. Okay. The shark over here needs the biggest one. The rat is going to be the small one that you found in the toilet, so you're going to use that. If you look at the ground here, you'll find a medium-sized one. This medium-sized one is going to be a snake. So you can find the snake picture here. You can grab the big block over here and use this medium-sized one on the snake, and then use the large one on the shark. And that's going to be the setup for the blocks. The symbols change, it's just the weights do not. Take a picture of that, obviously. This is not going to show anything except for what we actually took a picture of, and now you'll have the Blue Knees book. So a long, long time ago, there was a creature whose name was unknown. It had always lived alone and was often seen on its own. One freezing frosty night, it had begun to feel very somber that it fell into a 2-day slumber. By the third day, it woke up in blackness with an illness so serious that both its eyes had vanished into the darkness. The creature creeped out of the bed and started crawling, looking for the eyes it knew for sure were rolling. It slithered and rolled so his knees turned blue and sore since his eyes popped and tumbled, both of them as dust crumbled. It is to this day that it does not have a clue, but it is no excuse to end the pursuit. Now beware those fleeting eyes and make sure to turn on the lights, for your own sight is at stake if you cannot escape. And he's afraid of the light. Use something bright for protection. Inscribed inside the book here. Not the best nursery rhyme I've ever read, but we're going to take a picture of this floor here since the room's changed. Excuse me. And it's just going to show a whole bunch of eyeballs here. This whole section, as best I can tell, it is kind of time sensitive. So you can follow your way to the very back over here, because there's only going to be kind of like 2 rooms that we can go into and we could actually play this record. This is completely 100% random. So you do have to get on each of these gramophones and play this silly song. Once you hear that plop, you can go ahead and look inside the horn of the gramophone, and you'll either be able to pick up an eyeball or not. So the pupil has to be looking at you. So again, I do believe this to be time-based, but you'll have to listen for audio cues here, so that way Blue Knees doesn't get you and send you back to the room, and everything kind of like resets at that point. So once you hear a whole bunch of creaking and all that stuff, and you can see kind of like a little bit of fuzziness going on in the world there in front of you. So Bloonies will start getting closer and closer and closer, like right there. So you'll want to get a picture, just that way you don't have to start all the way back in his room. It doesn't, like I said, it's not like a permadeath thing or anything like that. But if you take this corner over here, this is going to be like the last room that you can actually go into over here. Now, there's going to be times when you're going to do a playthrough and you'll have to listen to every single gramophone in here, which is, you know, just slightly annoying, but it's just one of those things. This is just completely 100% random, like which one's actually going to spit out an eyeball and which one's not. This song is about as good as the book was. You know what I mean? So yeah, so that's like the only other room that you can go into, because it takes you back into this initial corridor that we were in. So the maze is kind of simple to follow. So after you exit this back room, you can just kind of like follow this to the front area. Just kind of like be on your P's and Q's. I'll leave the audio, I'll turn it up a little bit, like in a second here, when Bloonies is going to be coming up, so you can hear the audio that you're going to be listening for. So you'll find this next gramophone over here. You heard a ploop again, and I did not get the eyeball that time. And so I think this happens about every 3 minutes, if I'm counting correctly. But yeah, definitely keep it slow, and I'll turn the volume up here in a little bit, because I am going to find the eyeball, but I am going to end up waiting for Bloonies over here. So I'll turn up the audio now so you can hear it. And so that was it right there. So that sounded like it was a whole bunch of like pipes creaking and just that kind of like crackling. Like generally you're not going to be hearing that like as this section is going on, but once you do start hearing those sounds, then that's when you want to have your camera out and pointed at a door. You kind of like want to be definitely like in a corner somewhere, so that way you can actually get a picture of him, so he doesn't like send you back into his room. And yeah, and this is basically what it is you're gonna have to just walk, you know, room by room by room, just trying to find the correct gramophone to get you the last eyeball. And if I'm not mistaken, I think that I actually get the last one on this one. And then again, when you hear that ploop, there you go, you'll have that interact button, you'll be able to pull that eyeball out. And I end up chilling here a little bit, so I'm going to cut this out until Bloonies actually comes, and I'll leave the audio in again as he's approaching, so that way you could hear what you need to be listening for. Okay, so once again, we're listening for those kind of like wood creaking, pipe bending sounds, right? So now when we're walking back, watch here real quick. Okay, you'll see that that room on the left is dark, so we're going to skip by this one and we're going to walk around. This is just going to take us into a loop where it's going to show us that same section again. And so now this one is lit up. So this is the one that we're going to go through because we're heading back into Johnny's room, Blue Knees' room here. We're going to interact with the floor and we're going to drop both of the eyeballs in there.
So Grandma wasn't sick at all. This thing is what really killed her.
And once we've dropped those in, we will take a picture of that. This is obviously going to give us our last number that we need. And then once we get rid of all the miscellaneous pictures, now you can see that it is 2768 is going to be our combination for that door. Blue Knees will attack us there. That one doesn't count. So you'll see that I'll have a trophy actually pop up here in a second, because that's the first time I've gone through this section without him attacking me. It's because it took me a bit to get used to the audio cues. So right there, hunger. Survive through the entire Blue Knees section. Yeah. So once again, just listen for those creaks and cracks. At this point, yeah, we're getting towards the end of the game. So if you've been following along and if this game has helped you, I will ask that you do like the video, subscribe to the channel if you like these kinds of videos, and I do a lot of live streaming also. So would love to have you around. Hit that notification bell for new videos that come out. Otherwise, just kind of like follow this around. We're going to go back into the initial room with the chair in it. The sacrificial room, as it were. All these doors are going to be closing as you're walking by, so you can't really enter into them. You just basically have to follow down until you get there. The table slid over so you can't crawl down into the basement. So just follow this path around here, and hopefully you've enjoyed this game. This game it has, you know, it's one of the scarier games that I've played, with the jump scares, and you know, they've worked out the atmosphere really well. Again, it was just the vagueness of the puzzles that I kind of figured, you know, I need to do this video. There's probably somebody out there that needs some help with it, you know, so with some portion of the puzzles, I should say. But here we go. So we're going to end up back in this room over here. And if you remember the sacrifice ritual, then we need a 7th victim. And the 7th victim happens to be Luca in this case. So 2768, once again, the code to unlock this here. So interact with this and just move the numbers into the spots where they need to go. You can now open this door and pop out the ashes. And this will be the last thing that Luca will scribble into his notebook here. You'll want to turn around and face the pedestal here and place the camera onto the pedestal. And at this point, the last thing that is left for you to do is to interact with this chair. And so very, very cool, I gotta say, game design. And this is actually a like a pretty cool ending. MADiSON making her way back out into the world, as it were. Again, hopefully I've helped you out if you've missed you know, anything with any of these puzzles. And that right there completes the body exchange ritual. It's actually pretty cool the way that they work this out, because the camera will actually take a photo of you here, and it will spit out a piece of film that's burnt. And so again, I will say one more time that I do thank you for checking out the video, and I do hope that it helped you out if you've been stuck on any one of the puzzles there. Um, it's always kind of like my goal to be as helpful as I possibly can. So again, thank you for checking the video out. If you'd be so kind, I'd really love it if you gave the video a like, share it if so inclined, subscribe to the channel if you like gaming content, and turn on the notification bells for new videos. Thanks for checking this one out again, and have a great night. I will catch you in the next one. Cheers.